Oh, thank you, Deputy Speaker. And look, it's a real pleasure to once again be speaking on a debate brought to us by the member for Fairfax. We obviously had the MPI last Thursday. It's good to be here again talking about these issues. And I am grateful to the member for Fairfax for providing yet another opportunity to talk about how our government is taking responsible action when it comes to the energy future of this country, while those opposite spend their time living in some kind of fantasy land. Because it seems that rather than using their time in opposition to reflect, to think about what didn't we do over the last decade, what should the future of this country be, how do we deal with the very real challenges our country is facing, to get up to speed with where, in fact, the Australian people are, where the experts are when it comes to energy, climate, renewables in this place. Instead, what we have is the person who the Liberals and the Nationals would have serve as their Minister for Energy and Climate Change are often away talking about how great nuclear power is and joined by many of his colleagues. It does seem like for many of those opposite, they do see nuclear power as their ticket back to government. But I have to say, it doesn't seem like there are many other people out there who are with them on that ticket. In fact, I think it was the former Liberal Minister for Energy in New South Wales who said about nuclear power, people talking about nuclear as an asset to our energy challenges right now are literally chasing unicorns. Chasing unicorns. That is what we are actually debating, it seems, at the moment, starting down the path of wanting to introduce the most expensive and probably for our country the slowest form to roll out of energy in this country. That's what all the experts tell us. They tell us that this is not the option for our country. The option, as we move, as we transform, is a renewable one. And that is certainly what our government is doing. And again, I note that one of the reasons, and certainly the experts tell us that nuclear is not the option, is that we don't have an existing industry in this country, and it's certainly not something that those opposite did anything about in their decade of denial and drift. Their decade where we had, and I've lost count, sorry, of how many energy policies they did actually bring forward. I don't think they landed any of them, though, and that is why our country is in the position we are in, where we are behind on the transformation we should be making to a cleaner, greener, renewable-powered future. But we are now in the situation where we have a government in office who get it, who understand that that is our future and who are, in fact, working as hard as we can, as fast as we can, to make that happen. And, Deputy Speaker, those opposite know that they were wrong to vote against our government's energy price relief plan that we put in place late last year. We do know that energy prices are a real concern. We do know that cost of living pressures are a very real thing for many people in our communities. And as a government, we want to do all we can to support those people while also making sure that we don't do anything to add to the very real inflationary pressures Australia is facing. We know that countries around the world are facing at the moment, and facing the issue of obviously energy prices being affected by the war in Ukraine as well. But all the experts again have said that the work our government did last year through our energy relief plan has helped to keep prices lower than they otherwise would have been. The facts are this: the increases in default market offer prices are now up to $492 lower than they would have been without our government's intervention for residential customers, and up to $1,310 lower than they would have been otherwise for small businesses. But if those opposite had their way, it would seem that they would rip up this intervention that our government introduced. They seem like they would rather see unconstrained increases happen rather than step in to take the pressure off Australian households. They'd rather hitch their wagon to some kind of unicorn future with nuclear power than do the work here and now to get Australians cheaper electricity. So unlike those opposite, our government is not operating in a fantasy land. We are, and we always will be, upfront with the Australian people about the challenges and the opportunities we have. And we know that Australian people get that. They don't want to be left in the dark. They don't want to live in a fantasy land. They want a government that understands there is a genuine future for us. There is a future where we are a renewable energy superpower. They want a government that is doing everything we can to harness the jobs, the opportunity, the future from that. And that is certainly what they are getting with the Albanese Labor government.